I can't not review this film. Even when I just saw the poster, I got a hard on for it. Look at the tentacles, the triangle, the man before this gateway to who knows where. Even the name is awesome, The Void. Next to Abyss, Eldritch and Beer is right up there with words that spike my interest. Pure cosmic dread the poster promises. Well, sign me the fuck up. Even if it wasn't a Lovecraftian film, I figure I would need to watch it. Then it got recommended to me over and over again by people commenting on my videos that I should watch this film and maybe even do a review on it, so here's that review. Frankly, I can't give the review I think people are expecting from me because I didn't like the film. Sorry, but it's mediocre at best in my opinion. That's like the too long didn't read version of this review. So if that's good enough for you, you can sign off from my video, but let's go on. It feels like when you're in high school and you and your crush are there and then your friends are trying to push you two together to see what happens. That's how it kind of felt when people always recommend this film to me, telling me that it's so Lovecraftian and all that. Well, I've watched The Void twice now and a third time in pieces when I was editing this video just to make sure my arguments are all valid and everything I say is not just total bullshit. And here's my opinion of it. The film is set in one of these no-name middle-of-nowhere American towns. We're immediately introduced to two guys in this house in the middle of nowhere. They brutally execute a woman with fire and another guy manages to escape from them. He is found by the hero of the film, a cop named David, but he's bruised and beaten, so David takes him to a nearby hospital, which is where the rest of the film is set. In the hospital we're introduced to some random hospital type characters. You've got the old doctor guy, the pregnant lady, the cute nurse, and some forgettable sick patient. And everything is relatively normal up until about the 14th minute, and at that point shit quickly gets fucked up. It becomes apparent that there is some malevolence afoot, something supernaturally malevolent. The driving point of the whole film seems to be on this alternate realm and the convoluted and clear as mud past of Daniel. Added to this is an antagonistic force which frankly I don't know what the hell was all about. The first time I watched the film I started getting bored and fidgeting with my phone after about 20 minutes because I simply didn't have any interest in it. Nothing much was shown to me that made me sit up and think, oh fuck, what now? I better pay attention. Which is truly key to any horror story, I think. As a result of not being drawn into the story, I started viewing the film as a film rather than feeling like I'm in the story as an invisible bystander. That didn't make much sense, but I hope you understand my meaning. I started to nitpick every plot hole I perceived to exist, and probably due to this, I failed to really answer the questions I started to ask myself, which I won't mention now for fear of spoilers. I feel like if I really glued my face to the screen, I could answer my scathing questions, but you know, when I watched any of the films from my top 5 Lovecraftian films video that I did not have this problem at all. They all drew me in immediately, and I didn't feel like I was distracted or bored at all while watching them. On that note, I should mention that it does seem like the filmmakers watched John Carpenter films on rerun when they were making this film, which is a good thing. They even mentioned this comparison to John Carpenter in the trailer, specifically mentioning The Thing. I have said too many negative things about this film, so now let's look at the more positive things. The acting is decent and professional enough, and the characters do avoid the terrible trope of horror film characters having IQs below 80 and doing stupid illogical shit which destroys any empathy you may have had for them. The strongest point in this film's favor are the visuals. The usage of CGI is very limited, and I'd say at least 80% of the film relies on practical effects. Practical effects alone don't automatically trump CGI, but it's a nice touch when filmmakers still stick with old school visuals, especially in this film, because it seems that most of its inspiration lies in the 80s and 90s horror films which lacked CGI altogether. They aren't up to the level of The Thing, but they're very respectable and gory. At this point I should mention that this film is an indie film. Yeah, it got going from crowdfunding and gathered less than $100,000 to make the film, yet made quite a bit of profit, I believe. Given what is shown on this film, it's very impressive. The cultists in this film look pretty cool, and I think it's an underrated angle you never really see much in any type of Lovecraftian media. Wouldn't it be cool if someone wrote a Lovecraftian horror story from the point of view of a cultist or something? Maybe I should do that. The sound design and general music was pretty damn awesome too, the type of music I would love to use in my own videos. It has this droning, ominous, otherworldly feel to it. My favorite aspect of the film was the alternate world. It sparked in me that feeling I get when I read certain passages of Lovecraft. It's like, I don't know, spidey sense for cosmicism.
Spider sense, tingling.
When you see something that ignites that sort of dread feeling mixed with morbid fascination. I don't think I'm spoiling much by admitting that there is an alternate world in this film, considering that the picture on the film poster depicts what could only be a gateway. The alternate world shown now and then at random points in the film, always very briefly, is still quite interesting and it seems quite alien. That spiked my interest, but it quickly fades from memory as the film then turns on to other things, about things that I couldn't give two shits about, such as the pregnant lady having problems with her birth and stuff like that. You know, if you go from cosmicism to some pregnant woman, it's kind of a letdown, right? So in conclusion, the film has some pretty decent aspects which explains why so many people recommended it to me. But in my opinion, it isn't enough to explain the lack of tension and building of atmosphere like in The Thing or in Banshee Chapter, for example. I don't feel that feeling of cosmic dread which is supposed to be in any Lovecraftian film. In this film, you only really see that sort of thing in the last 10 minutes before the credits roll, and by then I have the feeling that it's too little too late. It got some positive reviews from horror-focused YouTubers and online newspapers alike, as well as being added to the Lovecraft e-zine's list of recommended Lovecraftian films. I don't want to come off as the national socialist of the Lovecraft fandom, but this was just not good enough in my opinion. I don't pretend to hold the monopoly on what's Lovecraftian either. Enough of you seem to think so, and so did the Lovecraft e-zine, and I respect that. But for me, nah, no thanks.